we are going to learn how to use the for loop statement. Okay, we are going to learn how to use the for loop statement. Why do you need this for loop statement? Okay, it is for loop. Okay, that's the spelling. Why do we need this? Okay, let me tell you the reason why we need this. The reason why I need the for loop is that, let's say you have some large number of data to process. Okay, let's say you have some large number of data to process. Let's say, for example, you've been asked to calculate for the multiples of 2. Okay, from let's say you've been asked to calculate for the first 20 multiples of 2. Of course, you can calculate for the multiples of 2. Let's say for the first 10. Okay, for the first 22 is possible. Let's say you are asked to calculate for the first 50 multiples of 2. You will see that this will take time because you have to start. Okay, you have to start from 2 times 1, 2 times 2, you go down 2 multiply by 3, and so on till you get to the 50th term. Okay, so you realize that this is a lot of work. Okay, so for this to be easy, you are going to use what? The for loop statement to perform this operation. Okay, so the for loop will help us to what? To calculate for the multiples of 2. Okay, let's say for the first 50 multiples of 2, for any number of multiples that you want. So far as it's some work that you don't want to continue doing yourself, and then you want the computer to process it for you automatically, then you have to use what? The for loop. So let's look at how you are going to do this. Okay, so first of all, you have to call for the command. So we use the for. Okay, so when you use for, the next thing that comes is the variable. Okay, that's the value that will be changing. Okay, so I'll say in this case I'll use x equals for numbers from 1 to, let's say, 20. Okay, we want to find the first 20 multiples of what? 2. So after writing or assigning the variables, the next thing you are going to write is the what? The expression. Okay, you have to write an expression for the multiples of what? 2. Okay, that's for the first 20 multiples of 2. And you know, multiples is 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, 2 times 4, 2 times 5. So you are going to write down a formula for this. Okay, so you are going to write a formula for this. So I will say that y equals 2 multiplied by x. Okay, so I've written that y equals 2 multiplied by what? X. Okay, so what the computer will do is that it is going to evaluate this expression for each of the numbers from what? 1 to 20. Okay, it will evaluate this expression for the x values from 1 to 20. Until it has gotten to 20, it will not stop. Okay, it will not stop the calculation. So this will make the work very easy for us. So let's go ahead. So after bringing your expression, the next thing you have to bring is the end. Okay, to tell the computer that it should end the this thing, the program that is running. Okay, so we've assigned the value of x, that's from 1 to 20, and then we've given it the expression. So let's go ahead and run our code and see what will happen. Okay, so before I run my code, I'll highlight it. Okay, you can choose to type your code in the command window directly, but that will give you the result immediately after you press enter. But if you use the text editor, you have to highlight the code. Okay, then you go to the run menu, then you select run selection. Okay, so after I've selected the run selection, you can see that what I have my multiples of 2 here. So it's evaluated it for numbers from what? 1 to 20. So you can see 2 1 2 2 2 4 2 3 6 2 4 8 till the 20th term 40. So you see that what this is very fast and easy. So for this reason, that's why we use the for loop. Okay, so easy to make work much more easier for ourselves. Okay, so let's try another example. Okay, so I'm going to calculate for, we're going to use the formula 2x plus 1. Okay, for the values from 1 to 10. Okay, we are going to calculate the value for 2x plus 1 for numbers ranging from what 1 to 10. So first off, you are going to bring your 4. Okay, then you assign any variable. So in this case, I can say a equals numbers ranging from 1 to 10. Okay, from 1 to 10. Okay, then you can write down your expression. Okay, so in this case, which is what our formula. So our formula was 2x plus 1, but in this case, our variable is set to what a. So the formula will become, let's say, y equals 2 multiplied by a, okay, plus 1. So this becomes our expression. So now let's go ahead and then end it. Let's end the statement. Okay, so after ending it, you can go ahead and then run your code. You first highlight and then you run a selection. So you see that what we have our answers here. So it has evaluated all these values here. Okay, it used the formula to evaluate the value of y for all these numbers between what 1 and 10. You realize that what this is very easy. So that's how to use the loop statement. Let's look at another method to perform such kind of operations. Okay, let's say you have large number of values, okay, to work on. So let's look at another way to do this if you don't want to use the for loop. So if you don't want to use the for loop, then you can use what the vectorization method. Okay, you can vectorize the code. Okay, you can vectorize your code. So I'm going to vectorize our code. Okay, so we are using multiples of 2. Now let's look at how we are going to do this. So we are going to define our x values. Okay, so we are finding for multiples of 2 from 1 to 20. That was from the previous video. Okay, we talked about the for loops. Okay, we found for the multiples of 2 ranging from what 1 to 20, but in this case I'm going to find for multiples of 2 ranging from what 1 to 5. Okay, so let's look at how you are going to do that. Okay, so for multiples of 2 ranging from what 1 to 5, that means what our x value should be from 1 to 5. Okay, it shouldn't be more than 1 to 5. So it's going to execute the code for x values starting from 1 to 5. When it gets to 5, it will stop. Okay, so now let's look at how you're going to do this. So let's write down our expression, okay, which is the formula that we are using. We are finding for multiples of 2. So that will be y equals what 2 times the assigned values. Okay, 2 times the assigned value, so that's 2 times what x. So it's going to evaluate this formula for what x, okay, starting from what 1 to 5. So it will evaluate y equals what 2 times 1, y equals what 2 times 2, y equals 2 times 3, till it gets to the last assigned value, which is what 5. So now you want to vectorize this code. Okay, you want to vectorize the answer. Okay, you want to represent the answer in what a matrix form. So let's look at how we are going to do that. So what you do next is that you are going to assign another variable z. Okay, so I will assign another variable z, and then I'm going to put this, okay, answers in what in a matrix form. Okay, so let me first bring my comment. Okay, so you are going to create a matrix for the result. Okay, it's good to use comments. Okay, when you use comments, it helps you to know what you are doing in case you come back to read your code to make some changes. That's why I'm using the comments. Okay, so now we know that what you are going to create a matrix for the result. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'm going to bring my x values. Okay, and then I'll close it, and then I'll bring my y values. Okay, so what this semicolon means is that we use semicolon to indicate the end of what, a row. Okay, we use the semicolon to indicate the end of what, a row. So this will be a row 1. Okay, this will be what, the end of what, row 1, and then this will also be what, row 2. Do you get it? All right, so this will be like row 1 colon 1, and then row 2 colon 1. That's what that means. So all this what this code will produce is that it will take each x value, then it will produce its corresponding what, y value. So if x is 1, it will produce its y value, which is 2. If x is 2, it will produce its y value, which is what, 4. So that's another way to do such computations if you don't want to use the for loop. So now let's run our code and see what happens. Okay, so after running my code, you see that I have row 1 here, column 1, okay, which is the 1 value here, and then row 2 column 1. So what is happening here is that this matrix here is telling us that what, when x is 1, you get what, y to be 2, and when x is 2, you get what, y to be 4, and when x is 3, we get what, y to be what, 6. And what we have down here are the multiples of what, 2. So 2 by 1 is 2, 2 by 2 is 4, 2 by 3 is 6, 2 by 4 is 8. So that's what that means. Okay, so if you don't want to use the for loop, you can use this method also to get your values calculated for you. So you can do it for a large number of values, let's say from 1 to 20. From 1 to 20, okay, you can actually execute this code for any number of values that you want. So you see the same thing that's happening here. So when x is 1, you get y to be 2. When x is 2, you get what, y to be 4. So it can do it, it can get you the multiples that you want, no matter the number of multiples of 2 that you want. You can use this approach to get it. Okay, so this is to help make work very easy for us. You don't have to come and be doing 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3. You can't do even up to what, 20, you get tired. So for this to be easy for you, that's why you advise that you use the for loop or this vectorizing method.